Now, this right here has to be one of the coolest vehicles of 2025, because the reason being is this is not a vehicle that anybody needed, but it's a vehicle that a lot of people wanted after seeing the SEMA concepts of the Maverick lowered with these turbofan style wheels, and then Ford decided to simply put that into production with this 2025 Ford Maverick Lobo in Velocity Blue. I love this truck. I think the power is perfect, 250 horsepower. And it feels, you can hear the turbo noise as well. I just love everything about it. The only thing is, I wish Ford would have put a manual in this truck. That would have been, I can see it with a 6-speed manual being the perfect fit for this truck. But we're going to have a look at the front end design, the side, the rear, the interior, of course, these beautiful, cool looking wheels. And then last but not least, we're going to take this for a drive. The 2025 Ford Maverick Lobo in this beautiful Velocity Blue is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder EcoBoost engine, putting out 250 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque. It's connected to a 7-speed automatic transmission. You do have all-wheel drive, 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds. Not bad. Fuel economy comes in at 21 city, 30 highway, and the price for this is $40,750. Learn design sketching online with me. My online class is now only $47. If you have any desire to pick up the skill of sketching products using simple tools such as just a big pen and some cheap print paper, this is something you want to check out. Now, over the years, I've taught over thousands of students from all around the world how to sketch cars and products using my simple sketching techniques, and most of them have seen amazing results from my classes. Analog Designer Pro Pack is the full bundle of all my classes I've released over the years, and it's yours for just $47. You also have a lifetime access to all the videos. Check out everything that's included and see what my students have to say in the link in the description, or simply visit analogdesignerpropack.com. Now, starting with the front end design, and this is by far my favorite spec of the Maverick, because if you look at the grille, we have this old school blacked out grille for the Lobo here, completely blacked out, and also the beautiful looking old vibe for the Ford logo in just black and white like this. It looks stunning. I love this. I want to have this on my wall. You have the front mounted camera right there as well in combination. So the blacked out graphics in combination with this Velocity Blue, it just makes it pop really, really well. Now, we do have a facelift, so I think came out last year, where you can see that we don't have the connection of the headlight now into the grille. Instead, we have this, it looks like a patch that just flaps up on top of the headlight compared to the previous pre-facelift. So I'm not sure which one I prefer. I thought the old one looked more, it felt like the headlight looked more traditional, but this is a pretty interesting solution to have this, because we now get nice chamfers going around the key graphics here, as you can see. What I like about the front end of this is everything here is completely 100% functional. We have the functionality in the lower section here. We have the functionality in the opening of everything in the grille. The headlights, thankfully, we do have LEDs right here and also LED headlights, but the indicator, unfortunately, still an old Edison light bulb. I don't know, it's fine in this price range. The Maverick is not supposed to be an upscale, but still, it's 2025. I kind of want to see LEDs in even base models now. I feel like it's time to update those as well. All the way down here, we do have fog lights integrated in this black graphic in the lower section of the corners of the front end of the Maverick. Now, looking up top on the hood, on the line fold that we have going on here, overall, the proportions of this and the styling for the Maverick to me is a quintessential truck design, because you have a clear 3-box design. The front box here, box in the middle for the greenhouse, third box for the bed in the back, and the styling just has this clear, beautiful lines in the hood as well. We have these lines here going down to the front end, and then this big chamfer wrapping around here. So overall, the front end design gives it a personality. Specifically, I think more so with the facelift, because now it looks more unique with having this flap. The flaps over the headlight that we didn't have in the pre-facelift. Now, coming around to the side view, and as we talked about, the proportions of the Maverick, beautiful looking proportions. This is if you want to learn how to sketch trucks, for example, this is a very, very good example of how to learn to do that, because you can just box it out in 3 boxes and remove this part here, and you have the bed, cut out here, put the wheels out, the wheelbase correct, and you do have yourself a pretty nice looking sketch of a truck if you follow the Maverick's proportions. Now, look at the wheel and tire setup. These has to be some of the coolest wheels I've ever seen on a Ford from factory. It looks like the old white wheels of rally cars. Just looks great, even though usually I'm not a fan of these plate looking designs for wheels, but in this case it just suits this truck so well. They're 19 inches. We got two 25mm wide tires as well, all around, looking beautiful. And looking at the overall velocity blue in the sunshine, I think it looks great, specifically when we have everything being blacked out. There is absolutely no chrome on this vehicle, which is not something I want to see on the Lobo, obviously. Now look at the line flow of the Maverick in general. Very beautiful lines here. I do like this Lobo texture that we have with graphics, even though I wish this was open and functional. We also have this dip, similar to what we have on the Ford F-150, coming back in the small Maverick here, even though the glass is not following the same shape like it does on the F-150, for example. And all the way down low, we have one single straight line going right across there. Now, as I said in the beginning, this has actually been lowered from factory. So it sits half an inch lower in the front end and over an inch lower for the rear axle. That plants it and makes it into the street truck. I would probably want to lower it even more than that and have it sit really close to the ground to make it a proper, handling, as good of a handling Maverick you can get by lowering it just a little bit more than this. Coming around to the rear end, and this, I've always been a massive fan of the Maverick rear end. I think I want to see more trucks like this that does not come with all the fancy bells and whistles and just keep it very basic. Same goes, that goes for the Maverick, because we have beautiful, first of all, the styling of the taillights here, coming around and having a nice chamfer going around it. Maverick spelled out in the tailgate right here. Still have the same blacked out Ford logo like we have in the front end. I love this. This is one of the most beautiful logos in the automotive industry, I think. The blacked out Ford logo. And we have this proper bumper here as well. We can open up the bed and check out. It's not power assisted or damped or anything like that. We don't need that in this price range. We do have a spray-in bed liner here. You have some LEDs on the sides. We also have, looks to be a 12-volt outlet right there, and some rails if you want to tie down stuff in the back, and that is pretty much it. We still have the Ford logo in the back, all the way back there, looking beautiful. So that is all I need for a truck. That is all I personally need. I do not need damped tailgates or power-assisted tailgates. I do not need the split openings to make it into a staircase or something like that. This is, for me personally, everything I would ever need from a truck. Now, coming up and a little bit personal with the taillight design here, and this is a beautiful refresh for the facelifted Maverick. It's a little bit dark tinted. I like to see that. The biggest thing that I think we're seeing coming back now when it comes to trends in car design is chamfers around key graphics. I've talked about that many times before, how everything seems to sit flush now. It doesn't really have a housing for it or anything like that. But here you can see just how big of a beautiful chamfer goes around the key graphics, that then goes into the tailgate, spells out Maverick. And these are the type of details that I've been missing the last 5-10 years or so, but I have a feeling they're starting to come back, which is very cool to see. Stepping into the interior of the 2025 Maverick Lobo, and this is the same type of vibe that I have for the exterior design. Everything is just very functional and very, very essential, basic, minimalist. You have everything you need, but not a lot more. And again, I just want to see more cars or vehicles like that drops the price. This one being close to like $40,000. I think it's a pretty good deal for what you're getting in the Maverick Lobo, specifically when you have this beautiful velocity blue and the blacked out turbofan inspired wheels. Now looking at the door panel, we do have some blue here. We have the controls, of course, for the window controls here, mirror controls as well. You have the Bang & Olufsen sound system right there, a couple of cup holders in the lower section. Yes, you still get power assisted seats, which is something personally I don't really care if they were to be manual in this case, just analog and not digital. not electrically assisted. I really don't care, but you do get them right here. Love that it says a Lobo in the backrest of the seats, and also the yellow and blue stitching that we have reminds me of Swedish colors right there. You see, we have the same Swedish colors right here in the steering wheel with the blue and yellow stitching. So let's jump in here and let's check out what this is all about. First thing I noticed when I stepped in here is just how weird this angle of the infotainment screen is. It feels like it's, I don't know, it should be, I feel like it should have a little bit back, rest backwards or angled backwards, but I guess I see why they did that, because now you have zero glare when you have it like this, tilted forward a little bit, but it feels pretty strange to look at it from the driver position. But here you do have wireless Apple CarPlay. If you want to have that connected, you can have that, of course. You also have the native map system here, which works pretty well. I mean, super responsive, as you can see, no problems whatsoever right here. You have heated seats, not ventilated seats. You have, of course, everything being integrated in the software for the climate settings, and also heated steering wheel right here. And that is pretty much it for the infotainment screen. I don't want to have it be bigger than this. This is as big as I want the infotainment screen to be, so don't make it bigger for the next generation, please. We have some storage up here, Bang & Olufsen sound system all the way up there as well. And I do like these, that we have some hardware visible here in the interior. It just makes it feel a little bit more rugged. Glove box, of course, pretty big glove box for a small Maverick like this. You have the blue that comes back in the door handle right here, coming back in the vent for the center portion right here. So just a splash of velocity blue. This is dial for the trail brake and just to connect the trailer. Here you have the volume knob. You have some more buttons here, of course, for the audio system. You have start button right there. Love to see this. We have a connection here, cigarette outlet, and 2 USBs, one regular USB. Great to see the old regular USBs here, a USB-C, and you have this to open up the window in the back right there. You have a wireless charging pad all the way down here. Wish we could have maybe 2 wireless charging pads, would be nice. You can still have your phone right here, or you can have it resting on the pad itself. Drive selector right here. You go into manual if you want to, you know, use the paddles. Go into reverse, and it's actually going to show you the 360 camera, which you get. The top view camera as well, looking very, very crisp. You can clearly see exactly where you are going by just looking at the cameras here. So let's fit into this small parking spot right here, for example, and there we go. Very, very easy to use this, and a very clear camera as well. Great design by Ford, and I think they updated it pretty significantly the last couple of years, just the camera resolution. You have the parking brake here, traction control on and off, and the shut off for the engine at red lights. Always turn that off. 2 cup holders here. You have some slots here for I don't know what, coins or something like that. You can open up the armrest. Very basic armrest solution here. It feels pretty cheap in here, but I don't care. It's just hard plastic. No LEDs or no connections in there, which is totally fine. Again, now looking at the seats, we talked about the seats before. They could probably, for the Lobo version, have a little bit more bolstering. I would like to see that, but I do love that it says Lobo in the backrest here. I think it's beautifully done. Looking at the steering wheel, typical Ford steering wheel. Could probably update the steering wheel soon-ish from Ford, but it still works as you would expect, you know, with all the buttons here and the cruise control settings here, volume knob, and they have the controls to customize the gauge cluster on this right here, and in addition to the voice command. You have the paddles on the back side, very, very small paddles. I'm not sure if you can see them right here. Extremely small paddles. And you have the washer right here on the right side, and the indicator stock on the left side, as you would expect, of course. I think we talked about everything in the front end. We do have, of course, a standard size sunroof up there, which you can open up. So let's check out the back seat. Now, this being a very, very small truck. Oh, I forgot to mention, we do have the drive modes, of course. I got to show you that. So let's go in here, and you can check out the modes here. We have a specific mode for this Lobo. We have slippery, eco, normal, sport, tow haul, and then we have this Lobo setting right there. Spirited closed course driving. Track use only, and so I'm not sure what that is exactly. I think it just turns off all the traction controls and everything like that, and not sure how many people are actually going to take this to the track though. So it's pretty interesting that you have a specific drive mode for the Lobo called Lobo. So let's jump into the back seat and check out the space, if I have plenty of space back there. I don't think I will, to be honest. This being a Maverick, it looks pretty dang tight back here. Have some exposed hardware right here, same blue coming back that we have in the front end. So let's jump in. Let's check this out. Ooh, it is pretty tight, but honestly, I was expecting it to be worse than this. Now, this would not be a very comfortable space to sit at 6'2", if the driver is also 6'2", because as you can see, it's pretty, I mean, leg space is not the best, as you can see right there. But if we get thirsty, the good news is we can fold down this thing right here, and we do have 2 cup holders right there. And that is pretty much it for the exterior design and the interior design. Now it's time to take this for a drive. All right, guys, let's take the 2025 Ford Maverick Lobo for a drive. 250 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque. You got 0-60 in about 6.1 seconds, and I have never felt that I need more power in this. This is a pretty sweet spot when it comes to the power. And I also, it's a really fun vehicle to drive. You would not expect it from a Maverick, and you can hear the whistle of the turbo, which was also not something I expected at all when I jumped into this. So it feels like Ford had a lot of fun with this. It goes. I mean, it's a fun little car. You don't need like 300, 400 horsepower in this. It's not what this is supposed to be like. It's supposed to be, I would say, just a splash of color in the boring, generic cars that we have coming out today. And I'm very glad to see that Ford did this. Honestly, I think Ford right now, with their Broncos, the Bronco Sport, you have the regular Bronco, the Raptor as well. I think they are really having a lot of fun when it comes to designing new models, because it feels like they are more, not more angled, but they are considering people who want something and not just what people need. It's just something that people thought would be cool after seeing, you know, all the concept that we saw at SEMA a few years back. One thing though about this seating position here, I feel like I'm sitting so high up. I wish I could cozy down a little bit and go lower down, but this is as low as the seat will go. Seats are comfortable. They're not the sportiest seats. I would 100% want to have more bolstering on the side for sure, but I guess, as I said, I don't know how many people are actually going to take this to the track. If you take it to the tracks, you're probably going to have some problems sliding around with the bag. It really does sound great, even though it is just a 4-cylinder. With that turbo Darth Vader whistle, you know, it really does sound great. I'm not sure if they engineered it to sound a bit more, you know, dramatic, but I don't care. It still sounds fantastic, this vehicle. The brakes have been upgraded as well, and they feel solid. You have upgraded brakes, upgraded wheel and tire setup. Suspension has been sporty, made sportier for the Lobo. So there's a bunch of things that they did with the Lobo to make it feel a little bit more special. Listen to the growl. Beautiful. So how can we sum up the Ford Maverick Lobo for 2025? I think it's a fun vehicle. It's more fun than functional. It's something that Ford decided that they just say, hey, let's just make something fun with our small little truck, the Maverick, and create something cool like a street truck. It's not, you know, I don't think it's gonna be as legendary as Ford F-150 Lightning back in the day, but still, you can customize this, and I've seen it online, and people lowering it even more than this and putting some very, very cool wheel and tire setup, suspension settings, setups onto this, and make it look absolutely ridiculous in a good way. The only thing that I would want to see, this feels like a truck that would just feel so natural if we had a 6-speed manual with this. That would improve the driving experience 100% at least. That is the only thing I'm missing in this vehicle. But overall, I've always been a fan of the Maverick because it's such a stripped down basic truck, and I think, as I said so many times in this video, we need more cars like this in this price range that does not have all the bells and whistles and unnecessary luxury that they seem to be pushing onto a lot of car models that don't necessarily want it. The buyers don't really want it in every case. So overall, great job at Ford, and I really enjoyed driving this, and I love the styling in Velocity Blue. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.